And there we go. Hey guys, come on in. I'm excited to talk to you tonight. Gonna answer some questions, whatever questions y'all got on tap for me. Want to talk about the completely free, very exciting webinar I'm doing this Thursday at 12 noon Eastern time, which is also 5 o'clock British time, which is also 9 a.m. on the West Coast. And hey y'all. Hey Susannah, good to see you. Thank you for joining me from Canada. So, all right guys, a couple things. I want to do some questions. I want to have some fun. It's been a while since I've done a live. I've had a lot going on. So I was like kind of scaling back a little bit on Instagram, but I'm here tonight and I want to do some questions and I want to have some fun with y'all. So what I would say to you is that there's a little question box down at the bottom. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. And go and drop your questions into that question box. And that way I can pull questions out. And we can go whatever direction you guys want to go with this. Submit your questions. I will try to get as many answered as I can. Lauren DeWild from Chicago, it's great to see you. Thank you for joining me tonight. I used to live in Chicago. I lived Southport and Addison, 2 blocks west of Wrigley Field. And I used to park cars for the Cubs games in my driveway. I had 2 spots. I would charge $25 per car. I made $50 a game. And sometimes I would go to the game and sometimes I put the money in a piggy bank. And then I paid for a trip to Costa Rica with my girlfriend at the time with my driveway in Wrigleyville. So, all right. Cool, guys. Get your questions submitted. Before we jump in, so I first want to tell you guys about this live webinar that I'm doing this Thursday, 12 noon Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific time. If you're in the UK, it's going to be 5 p.m. British time, okay? And this is with Dr. Tim Spector. Tim Spector is literally one of the leading minds when it comes to gut microbiome research. He has published, I'd have to check again. It's like 1,200 papers. It's completely ridiculous. Like, do the math on that. That is a person living to 120 years old and publishing 10 papers every single year from the year that they're born. That's crazy. It's very hard for any doctor to publish that many papers, even in 1 year, 10 papers. So anyway, and we're going to go live and we're going to talk about gut health. We're going to talk about myths that need to be busted. And we're also going to talk about personalized nutrition. Personalized nutrition is what I consider to be the future of nutrition, because what we do is we first point you in the right direction using the information that you will find in my book. We can get the compass pointed in the right direction, but then we can refine and be more precise in the way that we're doing things through personalized nutrition, because we're all unique, we're all different. So anyone who's interested in joining me for the live webinar, just go to theplantfedgut.com/Tim, right? I think it's front slash. Theplantfedgut.com/Tim. You can register. You will get the handout, which is 5 myths that need to be busted. You will be registered for the event. If you can't make the event live, don't worry. I will send you the recording. But if you want to see it, you got to register. So, all right, that's how we're going to do this. We got some questions submitted. We're going to have some fun. Let's get started right now. Let me see what you guys got for me. All right, here we go. Jake the Snake Armstrong asks, what's your opinion on canned beans, veggies, and chickpeas? All right, so when it comes to beans and chickpeas, the issue, of course, is that if you buy them at the store, they're dried out. So you need to bring them back at a minimum by soaking them and cooking them. And you can do this more quickly in a pressure cooker, and there are some advantages to the pressure cooker. If you are a person with histamine intolerance, the pressure cooker is your friend. And most canned beans and chickpeas are not cooked with the pressure cooker unless it is explicitly written on the can. So I do think there are advantages to cooking, but how do I eat my beans? How do I eat my chickpeas? Honestly, usually from a can. I buy organic. They're not expensive. I rinse them out. By the way, if you suffer with gas and bloating, you really want to rinse and re-rinse your legumes that are in the can because there is a complex polysaccharide called raffinose it comes from the legumes, and raffinose produces gas and bloating. And when you rinse and then you pour out, you are helping to get rid of the raffinose. So that's a little quick kitchen hack. If you have gas and bloating, if you worry about gas and bloating with legumes, rinse your beans. And if you're doing them dry, this is why you soak them overnight. You pour out the water, you add new water, let them soak for a little bit, and then you pour that out too. That's why you do this. So, all right, canned veggies, not my preferred approach, except maybe canned mushrooms, which technically aren't veggies, they're fungi. But anyway, generally not my preferred approach. Generally would prefer either frozen or would prefer ideally fresh. So, all right, good. Keep popping the questions in there, guys. Let's see, what else we got here? All right, here's a good question. So where is the research headed on gut health and endometriosis? And this person goes on to basically say that her experience really has her convinced that there is a connection between gut health and endometriosis. And your intuition is correct. There definitely is a connection between gut health and endometriosis. Nearly every single person who has endometriosis also has digestive health problems, digestive health challenges. Nearly everyone who has endometriosis has this. And when they have studied the gut microbiome in the setting of endometriosis, they have found consistently the presence of dysbiosis, meaning that there is damage to the gut microbiome. Okay, so endometriosis is associated with damage to the gut microbiome. Whether or not this is actually causative of the endometriosis is the question. And endometriosis is a bit of a complex topic, but excess estrogen has been connected to endometriosis, and your gut microbes are capable of regulating estrogen balance. And so this is one of the things that I think is important for people to know. Ellen says, will you talk more about calories in, calories out for weight loss? Ellen, we're going to be talking actually in more detail. Dr. Spector and I will be talking in more detail. This is one of the things I have on the agenda for our conversation this Thursday. So if you're interested in hearing more about not only what I have to say about calories in, calories out, but also what Dr. Tim Spector has to say about calories in, calories out, then you should join us Thursday, and you can sign up so simply by going to theplantfedgut.com/Tim for Tim Spector. All right, let me see what else. How to reduce bloating. Simple question, not an easy answer. Y'all ready? Okay, buckle up. We're gonna get into bloating here. Let me take you inside my mind. Okay, let me show you the way that I think about this as a gastroenterologist. And the way that I go about it is that, so first of all, let me say, bloating is a challenge. It is a challenge because it can be multifactorial, and multifactorial is hard for our healthcare system to handle. It is a challenge because we don't have great diagnostic tests, and in our healthcare system, because of the amount of time that we spend with people, because sadly doctors are not listening to patients, we rely so much on our diagnostic tests. And so if you don't have good diagnostic tests to address a problem, then you run into trouble in our healthcare system because you don't get solutions, because your doctor is not spending enough time with you. Let me talk to you about the way that I think about bloating, okay? And this is, by the way, stuff that I have taught in some of my courses, the Plant Fed Gut online course, for example. So there, to me, are 4 major causes of gas and bloating that I want you guys to be aware of. 4 major causes. Ready? Here we go. Number 1. The first thing I think about when it comes to gas and bloating is air that enters into the body through your mouth. All right, now this could be that you're drinking carbonated drinks. Seems very obvious, but there's a lot of people who see me for gas and bloating, and I'm like, how much Diet Coke do you drink? And they're like, 6 cans a day. I'm like, come on. So carbonated drinks, sucking on candies, chewing gum, sipping through straws. So when you have a straw, okay, the straw, if the water level's right here, everything below the water level is liquid. Everything above the water level is air. You close your lips around it and you suck it down. People who eat too fast. No one wants to be accused of this, okay? But I will often ask my patients, like, have you ever been told that you eat and drink really fast, that you're an aggressive eater? And they'll be like, oh yeah, that's me. Okay, when you're an aggressive eater, you have sloppy swallows. And when you have sloppy swallows, you're not just swallowing food, you're not just swallowing beverage, you're swallowing air. And so number one for gas and bloating is air that enters into your body through your mouth. All right. Number two is the food that you eat. So your dietary choices can determine whether or not you develop gas and bloating. So now when you eat foods that are more gas producing, you are going to be more likely to have gas and bloating. This is where concepts like the low FODMAP diet come into play. It's very important though to get to the root of the problem. So don't make assumptions that this is automatically irritable bowel syndrome, because there are conditions like celiac disease that can present just like irritable bowel syndrome, okay? You need to make sure there's no celiac disease. You also need to make sure that there's not something called sucrase isomaltase deficiency. Sucrase deficiency is something that people are often born with, and they can't tolerate sucrose, which is table sugar, which is in everything. And these people, they have gas, bloating, and many times they have diarrhea as well. All right, so got to get to the root of the problem. But your diet can be one of the factors that determines whether or not you have gas and bloating. This is where the low FODMAP diet comes in. All right, so we said air that comes in through the mouth, gas that is produced because of the food that you eat. Number three is your gut microbiome. When you have damage to your gut microbiome, you are going to produce more gas. All right, so this is another thing that we have to think about. When a person comes with gas and bloating, do they have damage to their gut microbiome? And the answer is most likely yes. So we need to create a plan to approach how to fix the gut microbiome. And then number four is motility. And I saved the best for last. This is perhaps the most important. Are you pooping? Are you completely evacuating? All right. Not just do you go every day. Are you completely evacuating when you go? Because if you are not completely evacuating, then you are backing up. And when you back up, you are going to produce gas and bloating. The number one cause of gas and bloating that I see in my clinic is constipation. And many times these people don't even realize that they're constipated. They don't even realize that. Because they're pooping every day. They go, Doc, I'm pooping every day. Yes, but do you empty completely? And I had a patient today, all right, I'm just gonna share this with you guys real quick. This person has been to like every doctor and never had a solution. And the solution seemed so obvious to me. And I'm actually extremely optimistic that we're gonna be able to get this person better. And the issue, the way that I revealed the path forward was I said to this person, when you have a good bowel movement, right? When you have like one of those great bowel movements where you completely evacuate, how do you feel? And this person said to me, I feel great. I feel great. I have no gas and bloating. I can tolerate whatever food I want, but that's only for a day. And I'm like, we have our answer. It's so obvious. We have to make you poop. We have to make you poop. And if we make you poop and you are completely evacuating, then you will feel exactly the way that you're describing to me, except it will be every single day. So I'm very optimistic. Getting a lot of questions about constipation. I could talk literally all night about constipation. I taught a course, and that course is actually available on my website. It is evergreen, meaning that if you want to like start the course tonight and you're interested in constipation, have at it. So that course is at my website, theplantfedgut.com, and you will find my courses, and you can sign up and do that whenever you feel like it. It's evergreen. You can do it this weekend if you want to. So that is for people who are interested in going deeper dive into constipation. All right. Here we go. Question about constipation and magnesium. What magnesium supplement helps with pooping? So there are many different types of magnesium supplements that are on the market, okay? And not all of them are good for pooping. Magnesium is quite interesting from my perspective. When I check magnesium levels in my patients, they are often low. I feel like our nutrition, our diet in 2021 is deficient in adequate magnesium even when people are eating a healthy diet. And so there is a place for magnesium supplementation, and magnesium has a number of benefits. It is good for headaches. It is good for sleep. It is good for mood. And it is good for pooping. Not all magnesium is the same. When it comes to having good bowel movements and using magnesium to accomplish that, I am a fan of magnesium oxide. All right, magnesium oxide. It is not absorbed. If you're looking for something for headaches and for sleep, that's not the one. Magnesium citrate is also a good option, or magnesium sulfate. And if you want the combination of being able to poop better and also sleep better or treat headaches, magnesium citrate could be a good choice, or magnesium sulfate. So Ariana is asking me an appropriate question. How can I replace Miralax? Ariana, I just gave you the answer. It's magnesium. So cool. All right. Let me take a quick timeout, guys. Quick timeout. We got 450 of you here. I'm guessing not all of you were here 20 minutes ago when I started this. I'm answering questions. We're having some fun. But I also am here to tell you guys about my live webinar that I'm doing this Thursday, 12 noon Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific time. You don't have to actually be there. You just have to register. If you register, you will not only get an email with a PDF of the 5 health myths that need to be busted. All right, we're busting 5 health myths. That will be delivered to you, but also whether you are there for the live or not there for the live, I'm going to send you the recording. But I'm not posting the recording publicly. This is something that's only for people who are actually interested. So if you are interested, then go to theplantfedgut.com/Tim. Tim is for Tim Spector. Tim Spector is one of the world's leading microbiome researchers. We are both on the scientific advisory board for a company named Zoe, which is all about personalized nutrition. And so this Thursday, we will be talking all about gut health, gut microbiome, metabolism, how our gut microbes are related to our metabolism, and we will be talking about personalized nutrition. So for those of you guys who are interested, again, completely free, just go to theplantfedgut.com/Tim and throw your name in there. All right. Wolves 2 says she's halfway done with the book. Loving it. I'm loving it. This is my book, Fiber Fueled, for those of you who have not checked it out. You can check it out at your convenience. While I'm here, this is Mastering Diabetes, written by my friends Robbie and Cyrus. That's a great book too. I got lots of books. You can see I got a big bookshelf here. I also got people that send me books like 3 times a week to give them a blurb. So why is Zoe not available in New York? It's due to New York laws. It's not personal against Zoe, and it's not that New York thinks that Zoe is bad. It's that New York has laws about what can be transported, and one of those is microbiome tests. So because they won't allow microbiome tests, you can't do Zoe without having your microbiome analyzed. That's a critical part of what you're doing when you do Zoe. So why is your screen backwards? It's always like that, Dustin. It's always like that when you do an Instagram Live. If you do an Instagram Live and you hold up my book, I will say, Dustin, you got my book backwards, man. So, Dr. B, can you clarify if plant-based omega-3 is less effective? I see no reason why a plant-based omega-3 would be less effective because, let me go back. Inamida. No, okay. Sorry, that's not your name. But anyway, you're asking me about plant-based omega-3. All right, guys. Let me get you in on this, okay? Omega-3s. All omega-3s come from plants. There is no animal that produces omega-3s on its own. The animals that have omega-3s, they consume them and then store them in their fat. But the origin of the omega-3, one way or another, was from plants. So, and you can get omega-3s from chia, flax, hemp, walnuts. These are some great sources, okay? But if you're looking for DHA and EPA, you need to get that from a sea source. And so what I mean is an algae. So there are algae-based omega-3 supplements that give you DHA and EPA, and they are more pure and clean than what you will get from fish oil, because the fish, again, is not creating the omega-3. The fish is consuming algae and then storing the omega-3 in its fat, but they're storing other stuff in their fat, like heavy metals, potentially mercury. We don't want that, right? So would I recommend Zoe to my patients? There are plenty of patients that I recommend Zoe to. I don't make categorical recommendations. I think you would expect that from me, right? So like I personalize my recommendations to individual patients. So for people who I believe will benefit from Zoe, I have a conversation about what Zoe is and why I think it may be beneficial. But of course I give them options too. So, all right, back to questions. Submit your questions right here, guys. Submit your questions right here. All right. Let's see. Veggies, raw versus cooked. Okay. So, there are benefits to both. I don't view this as being like one, you want one and not the other. That's not true. And there was a researcher out at the University of California, San Francisco. He's a microbiome researcher who did a study looking at the effects of eating the exact same food, raw versus cooked. And here's what's cool. When you cook your food, you actually will create a differential effect on the gut microbiome. The reason why this happens is that when you cook food, it does alter the fiber content. And by altering the fiber content, now you're feeding a different population, a different family of microbes. So if the solution to optimal gut health is diversity of plants, the reason why is because you want different types of fiber. Why would we pigeonhole ourselves with just raw versus cooked when we could have both? I say yes. Froze there. I say yes to diversity of plants, and I say yes to diversity of cooking techniques. And if you are cooking your food, let's pretend that you're going to steam some kale. All right. If you're going to cook your food, nibble on a little bit of the raw food while you're cooking it. That way you're feeding both families of gut microbes. That's a little kitchen hack for you guys. Is Viome like Zoe? I would say no. So I have not seen a study to date, correct me if I'm wrong, but I have not seen a study to date that was actually published using Viome. And in the last year, the researchers at Zoe, I'm on the scientific advisory board. This includes Dr. Tim Spector. This includes researchers from King's College London, from Stanford University, from the Massachusetts General Hospital, which is Harvard in Boston. All right. They have published, it's at least 8, potentially 10 papers at this point. They've published in Nature Medicine, which is the top journal on the planet, 2 times. Once in June 2020, once in January of 2021. They've published in Nature Endocrinology. They have published in Gut. These are top journals. These are like the most ridiculously hard journals to get into. And you know why they're getting in? They're getting in because the science is real. And so when you put something through peer review, you better have some really high quality science to back up what you're doing. And so the fact that they can publish using Zoe in these top journals is in itself validation of the work that is being done by Zoe. So is gluten sensitivity a real thing? Of course it is. But Well, okay, hold on. That was, all right, I made a mistake there. Let me unpack this a little bit. Is gluten sensitivity, let me start, take it from the top. Is gluten sensitivity a real thing? Okay. There is celiac disease, all right? And those people, when they consume gluten, they get inflammation inside their body as the result of their immune system reacting to the presence of gluten in their diet, all right? There is wheat allergy. Wheat allergy, most of the time, is not related to gluten, but it is an allergic reaction, and it's to wheat. And you know it's not the gluten because people that have a wheat allergy can eat rye bread and not have a problem. And rye bread contains gluten, okay? There is what has been described as gluten sensitivity, and it's been mislabeled. It's been mislabeled. This is the important part. Most people who think they have gluten sensitivity are not actually sensitive to gluten. They did a research study where they gave people breakfast bars, all right? And there were 3 breakfast bars that people ate, and they recorded their symptoms. These are people who did not have celiac disease, and they thought that they had gluten sensitivity. And so these 3 bars that these people consumed were gluten, fructans, and a placebo. So you compare the results to the placebo. Here's what they found. When people were eating the gluten-containing breakfast bar, these patients had less symptoms than even the placebo. The placebo caused more trouble than the gluten did. But when these people consumed fructans, by the way, are found in wheat. They are a FODMAP, and they're actually good for us. They're prebiotic. But in a person with a damaged gut, fructans can be disruptive. And when, in this study, they consumed a fructan-containing breakfast bar, they were triggered. They had symptoms, all right? And that's because it's not gluten intolerance, it's fructan intolerance. That's the issue. Wheat contains fructans. All right, let's see here. We'll do a couple more here, guys. Jake Armstrong, are you completely against eating any meat? So, Jake, this is the way that I see it when it comes to eating meat. I don't see any advantages for the vast majority of people. I don't see any health advantages. Show me the study that says that people live longer, healthier lives because they are consuming meat. I haven't seen it. So now if you enjoy consuming meat, call it what it is. Say you enjoy eating it. And I get it. I totally understand. But let's not pretend that eating meat is helping you to live longer and be healthier. And the reality is, just to kind of expand this a little bit, you know, there was a time a few years ago where I felt like, look, as a doctor, it is my responsibility, if I'm going to have these conversations like I am right now with you guys, it is my responsibility to keep the conversation focused on things that are relevant to your health, because you are turning to me as an expert because I am a doctor. So I felt like I can't be talking about the environment, right? That's the way I felt. Like that's not a person's individual health. But you know what? This pandemic has reminded me that if we don't take care of this planet, we are going to individually have problems. And I don't know when exactly that will affect each and every single one of us. You could argue that this pandemic is obviously affecting each and every one of us. And you could argue that this is related to some of the abuses of the way that we have treated animals. But antibiotic resistance is a very scary thing, and it's made way worse by animal agriculture. Deforestation is destroying this planet and creating global warming. I live in Charleston, South Carolina. We are in hurricane season right now. And I'm not kidding you when I say that I wake up every single morning and I wonder whether or not I'm going to open up the news and hear that there's a new hurricane coming our way. we evacuated 3 years in a row. All right, 2016, 2017, 2018, we had to evacuate our house because of hurricanes. Don't tell me global warming is not happening, and don't tell me global warming doesn't affect our health. So I think it's important to just, for me to say that. I try to stay as science-oriented as I possibly can. But when I do feel that it's appropriate to open things up and have a conversation, I will be transparent with you guys. So someone asked about mushrooms. I love mushrooms. They're incredibly healthy for you. They have unique types of fiber that are actually really good for your immune system. Is blood testing for food sensitivities accurate? IgG, IgM, and IgA? No. No validated evidence that those are accurate. The vast majority of people who are my patients who have done those tests, I've never ordered them because I don't believe in them. But my patients who have done those tests, they come back to me and they go, okay, the test says that I'm sensitive to this, but when I eat it, I feel fine. And the test says that I'm not sensitive to this, but when I eat it, I'm miserable. I'm like, that's because the test is not good. So all it does is create confusion. Can you sprout marijuana seeds? Hypothetically, yes, you could. All right, let's do a couple more questions, guys. Dr. B, how do you get your vitamin B12? So vitamin B12, to me, all right, let me start with this. Any person who is eating plant-based, which is the way that I eat, should be on a B12 supplement, okay? Every person who eats plant-based should be on a B12 supplement. Now, this is not a failure of the plant-based diet. Most people are having B12 problems at baseline. So let me unpack this one a little bit. In a study of the population of the United States, they found that approximately 39% of people were either B12 deficient or borderline B12 deficient. That was not the vegan population. All right? These are omnivores. And they still are deficient in B12. All right? Number 2, most of the B12 that people get is because the cow is being supplemented. Why do we have such a big deal with taking a supplement when you're getting it through a supplement anyway? It's just being entered into the food system one step before you. The B12 is given to the cow has B12 now, and then you consume the cow. Okay, I get it. So the point is, I'm a believer in B12 supplementation, and I think that it's necessary and appropriate for virtually all of us. When you have more B12 than your body needs, guess what you do? You pee it out. Not that big of a deal. And I use methylcobalamin, which is a spray, once a week. And it doesn't have to be absorbed through the stomach. So for people that have absorption issues, bypass that. It gets absorbed through the mucosa in your mouth. All right. Let's do one more, you guys. It's 8:35. I'm going to do one more. And then we're going to call it a night. Let's see. Just looking for a good one here. Good one to end on. Here's a good one. All right. Any thoughts on circadian rhythm influence on gut health and the gut microbiome? Yes, 100%. So, okay. Circadian rhythm. We are talking about our biological clock, which is synchronized to the rise and fall of the sun on a 24-hour cycle, okay? And we evolved as humans with this biological clock. Humans have existed on this planet, we believe, for approximately, depending on who you want to believe, approximately 3 million years. From day one, 3 million years ago, the sun went up and the sun went down. Every single day of human evolution has included this fact. The sun went up and the sun went down. And it's affected every single human that has lived on this planet. All right, but it's not just us humans. The gut microbes that live inside of us that have been on this planet way more than 3 million years. All right, like for example, if you have archaea inside of you, we have evidence from an archaeologic dig in Greenland, that archaea have been on this planet for 4 billion years. We have only had oxygen for 2.5 billion years. These archaea were on the planet when it was a scorched earth that didn't even have oxygen, and they were there for 1.5 billion years, thriving and surviving. Okay, so here's the thing. These gut microbes, they also evolved with the rise and fall of the sun. We have a circadian rhythm. Our gut microbes have a circadian rhythm. And this is the reason why you can see differential effects depending on timing of meals. And this is also the reason that you can see differential effects in your metabolism if you don't get a good night's rest. Sleep is so wildly underrated. And when they have studied the gut microbiome of people who are sleep deprived, 2 days of sleep deprivation can put you in a place where it alters your gut microbiome to the point of having dysbiosis. And it starts to resemble a person who has obesity. Now think about this. You get a bad night's rest. Okay, guys? You tell me in the chat box. If you get a bad night's rest, what kind of food are you like? Do you lose your impulse control? What kind of food are you reaching for when you are like just wiped out and exhausted? What kind of stuff are you going for? Give it to me, guys, in the chat box. And I'm going to come back when I start seeing it because I know there's a delay. Junk food, thank you. Sugar, exactly. So it's carbs, it's refined carbs, ultra-processed foods. This is what we go for, right? And there is evidence to suggest that it's the microbes that are shifting that are creating these impulses where we start to crave a sugar, an energy supply, like simple sugars. This is what we start to crave when we are sleep deprived. Okay, now, if you take a person and you feed them the exact same meal, but at different times in the day, you will see differential effects. Take insulin sensitivity, for example, which affects our blood sugar. We are most insulin sensitive early in the day. So when you eat a meal, let's pretend it's oatmeal, and you have it for breakfast, you will not spike your sugar nearly as much when you have oatmeal for breakfast as you would if you have oatmeal for dinner. Point being, we are better front-loading our food, and we are not smart to be late-night snacking. And that includes alcohol. Hate to call you guys out on it. I apologize. I don't want to ruin all your fun, but something to be aware of when we have late-night snacks, when we drink alcohol late in the evening, we are disrupting our metabolism, and there are potential consequences to it. So just something to keep in mind. All right, you guys, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Real quick, Thursday, 12 noon Eastern time, completely free webinar. There is a giveaway, 5 health myths that we're going to break. We're going to get off of me, bust them. And if you want to register, go to theplantfedgut.com/Tim, because I will be with Tim Spector this Thursday, 12 noon. He is one of the microbiome experts on the entire planet, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be informative. And if you want a part of it, you got to register. It's completely free, but you got to register if you want in on this. Cool? All right, guys. Good to see you. It was fun doing this, and I thank you guys for your questions. I thank you for following me and hanging out with me this evening. Y'all take care. I'll see you on Thursday for those of you who are joining me. Take care.